Well, mahalo as we look at OKO Grab Art number 16. Similarly to 15, 15 is a rear bear hug, arms are free. Well, now let's say that this bear hug, instead of starting here, instead of him reaching around to clasp, he feels you rummaging around and he brings his arm up to hook behind in a full Nelson or even a half Nelson, just bringing his arms up. We need to stop it before he cinches his hands down and drops his elbows, locking us in. So once again, this is a when-then attack. When he does this, then we respond. So once again, like in 15, let's say this wall is the beginning of the contact. I'm going to need to find my balance as I get knocked forward. As I do so, I notice my arms are going up because he's affecting this half Nelson. I'm going to step into a horse stance, sitting on his leg, and I'm going to drop my height as I drop my arms. Hopefully using my elbows or my underneath my triceps to strike the radial head nerve on each arm, breaking his ability to clasp behind my head. From this point, I'm going to shift my weight in that, like we did in 15, towards 130. I'm going to grab his right hand, and if this stick is his right arm, I'm now controlling the arm with my armpit. I've flapped the elbow down to control it as I point his arms towards 130. Both of my hands are now going to grab that wrist and to control it. Preferably what I want to get is that butterfly position behind the back of his hand, allowing me to control the wrist in and through this motion like we have done previously. Pointing it, I've grabbed. I'm going to step with my left foot towards 130, once again like 15, and as I rotate the first 90 degrees, now I got that in-air arm bar, once again from a different direction. He pushes me, I take a couple of steps forward. My arms go up, flap those down. Notice how I have the right hand. I'm pointing it towards 130 as I grab the wrist. Make sure that elbow has now flopped. Left foot steps towards 130, and as I rotate, now I have 3 points of contact in air armbar, and now I'm affecting his height, his width, and his depth at the same time. Now I'm going to step the reverse towards 130 as we did before, keeping control, butterfly grip of his wrist. In a moment, we're going to do an arm and wrist lock. I'm going to control release his elbow. As I rotate, I'm going to flap my elbow up and over his arm as I step through reverse. Let me take it from the different directions so you can see. Once again, from here, he goes ahead, he pushes. My arms come up, step out, strike down. Adjust, grab the back of his wrist. I've already initiated that contact between my body, my elbow, and my hand. Step towards 130. Make sure I have control, and as I rotate, I'm affecting him here. I'm affecting his width and height, and a little bit of his depth. And as I step the reverse, now I have control of his wrist and his hand. And as we did in 15, if I need to continue bringing him off balance, I'm going to shimmy backwards, take small step drags, to make sure he's unable to get up. From here, I can kick any open target, or I can choose to, something I would really like to step in, and I'm going to actually suck him in. I'm going to canoe him in with a zero gap. I'm going to sit on that leg. I can control his arm by having 3 points of contact, both my legs and my gut, across his arm along with my hands. From here, I can choose to strike, or at this point, since I'm sitting on his leg, I can have a conversation. Hey, brother, why are you doing this? Stop it. What we call a mercy point. Point in which I can have a conversation, which things don't need to escalate. Now, for instance, once I'm here, the in-air arm bar with my wrist, if I see another opponent, I'm going to control release and move on to the next guy. So what fun stuff is there in OKO Grab Art number 16? Number one, once again, we're using marriage of gravity. As I step and flop those elbows down, flapping elbows, I'm using the gravity of the earth and my body weight to affect my opponent's balance. I'm striking the radial nerve heads on each arm. I've got 3 points of contact as the arm once I isolate the right hand. We have a transitional arm bar in and through the motion of going 180 degrees with the step through reverse. We have the push-pull in the air instead of with my hands. It's with my body and my left hand. We have borrowed balance and borrowed force. Once again, as I borrow his balance by sitting on his leg, and borrowed force, and that once his hand is in the air and I'm pulling, I'm going to pull as I begin that kick. So once again, it's two forces colliding at the same time. And we have the flapping elbows. No, I normally don't like chicken wings in my kaju. As I tell my students when they're punching and their elbows come up, I say, hey, I like them barbecue ribs. Get me some barbecue sauce. Teaching the students to keep those elbows down. In this particular case, we're using the flaps of our elbow, much like a plane uses the flaps to control whether it's ascent or descent. Once again, you can choose to tilt the elbow up or tilt the elbow down to control. We're doing the same thing, except for now I'm controlling my opponent with the flapping of my elbow. Tons of fun stuff in OKO Grab Art number 16. Hopefully you guys notice I like this one. Aloha, mahalo.